On the October 9th edition of Sports Extra. Was UNC able to add more hardware to the national championship trophy case?
The basketball team gets a little dose of black and white.
And volleyball fans had a view to a kill this weekend. All that and so much more, Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Media and Journalism, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
We all know what UNC stands for, the University of National Champions. Welcome to Sports Extra, I'm Bailey Ingalls.
And I'm Paul Beam. Carolina entered the day with 2 chances to claim natties in men's tennis, singles, and doubles. In the ITA singles final in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was sophomore William Bloomberg for the Heels taking on UCLA's Martin Redlicki. Bloomberg had already beaten this top seed in the semifinals. Bloomberg got out to an early 3-1 lead by breaking Redlicki's serve. He went on to win the first set 6-4. Redlicki couldn't handle the raw power of Bloomberg's serve. It's coming up right here. Boom, look at that. And that proved to be the match. Bloomberg finessed his way to match point and then brought it home with a dirty cut shot. Bloomberg didn't lose a single set the entire tournament. This clean sweep of the 64-man field is the first singles ITA championship for the Heels. Less than 2 hours later, Bloomberg returned to the court with a chance at his second title of the day, teaming up with Robert Kelly against a pair of Florida Gators in the doubles final. The Heels lost the first set in a tiebreaker, then won the second 6-3, setting up the deciding third set. Drum roll, please. Wait for it. Wait for it. Heels dropped the 10-point tiebreak third set 10-8, missing out on the opportunity to double up on the day's national titles.
The men's basketball team got a major boost to its 2018 recruiting class Wednesday with the commitment of small forward Nasir Little. Little's commitment is the first ESPN 5-star addition to the class and the first 5-star commit for the Heels since the trio of Justin Jackson, Theo Pinson, and Joel Berry arrived in 2014. ESPN has Little rated as the 14th best player of his class and the 4th best small forward. The versatile swingman can do it all. Check him out running the fast break like a point guard. Little joins 4-star recruits Rashawn Black and Kobe White in Carolina's 2018 class. And what a class it is! With 4 stars White and Black already in the fold, Carolina's recruiting class is now rated as the best in the country by 24/7 Sports, and the Heels might not be done. Carolina is among the top 2 schools along with Vanderbilt for big man Simi Sola-Shitu, the number 6 recruit in the nation. Exciting times to be a Carolina basketball fan, and here to get us even more fired up is basketball analyst Michael Coe. Michael, what's in store for the basketball team?
Bailey, fans everywhere will be flocking to the Dean Dome because Friday night marks the unofficial start of basketball season, Late Night with Roy. Doors open at 4 and fans will be treated to some volleyball action as the Heels take on Virginia Tech at 5 on the Smith Center floor. After that, UNC alum and TNT analyst Kenny the Jet Smith will kick off the festivities as host. And the evening will, of course, feature the unveiling of the 2017 Men's Basketball National Championship banner. But the Heels can't rest on their laurels too long because once late night is over, they have work to do if they want to defend their title. With the departures of Kennedy Meeks, Isaiah Hicks, and Justin Jackson, the Heels front court is very thin. Luke May is the only returner, and he's joined by 3 freshmen in Garrison Brooks, Sterling Manley, and Brandon Huffman, as well as Pittsburgh transfer Cameron Johnson. Rebounding has always been a strength of the team's play, so it will be interesting to see how the new faces perform early on. And Bailey, I can't overstate how important the Nasir Little signing is. With the NCAA's sanctions likely coming any day now, a top 10 recruit choosing to come to Chapel Hill has to be a good sign for the Heels.
More reason for Carolina fans to be excited. But getting back to this season, do you have a prediction for the 2018 campaign?
Bailey, if Joel Berry puts the team on his back like he's capable of, I could see the Heels going to their 3rd straight Final Four. But if injuries continue to plague him, I see the Elite 8 as this team's ceiling.
That's basketball analyst Michael Coe in the studio. Thanks, Michael.
Meanwhile, the other Jordan squad, the football team, was back in Kenan this weekend to take on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And it was the explosive play once again that sank the Heels on Saturday. Carolina was tied at 0 heading into the second quarter, but it didn't take long for that to change. When on back-to-back drives, the Fighting Irish scored 2 touchdowns, the latter one here on this 73-yard rush by Josh Adams. But Carolina would respond. Going with the hurry-up offense for most of the drive, Chaz Surratt and Anthony Ratliff-Williams would hook up for their second touchdown of the year on this 25-yard touchdown right there. However, with just seconds left in the first half and backed up on their own 1-yard line, Jordan Brown was tackled in the end zone for a safety, and thus began the downward spiral for the Heels on the opening drive of the third quarter. Surratt's pass would be batted in the air and picked off by Notre Dame's Julian Okwara. And then the nail in the coffin came midway through the fourth quarter as Notre Dame punched in its final score of the day on this 24-yard rush. Yeah, he's in there. The Fighting Irish pummeled the Tar Heels 33-10, marking just the second time in the Fedora era that the Tar Heels have started a season 1-5.
The energy level of our guys, the way they're practicing, they're giving everything they got out there, and they're just again, it comes down to me as the head coach putting them in a position to be successful, and I haven't found a way to make that happen yet.
Coach Fedora doesn't know what to do with the team, and honestly, we don't either. But here to try and show us the way is football analyst Abby Presley. Abby, what's gone wrong?
Paul, Coach Fedora might not know what to do with this team, but I think I know where we can start: the weight room. In a season cursed by injury, this team needs to take a step back and evaluate its strength and conditioning. The Heels' offensive lineup has been depleted following the loss to Notre Dame. Here's a week-by-week look at just how many key players Carolina has lost. Let's look first at home games. In the storm against Notre Dame, sophomore punter Tom Sheldon left in the first half with a leg injury. Against Duke, we watched receiver Rontavious Groves take a hit and senior receiver Austin Prohl leave the field with a broken left clavicle, not dissimilar to the injury that ended Mac Holland's career last year. Senior linebacker Andre Smith suffered a knee injury against Louisville as well. And in a away game against Old Dominion, one of Carolina's top receivers, Thomas Jackson, suffered a knee injury, leaving Anthony Ratliff-Williams the only respectable receiver left healthy. And like Jackson, sophomore offensive tackle William Sweet went down in the first half and didn't come back. Needless to say, these injuries have had an immense impact on the men left standing, especially quarterback Chaz Surratt. UNC's signal caller was projected to do pretty well, and he did for a while, going his first 3 games with no interceptions. But with the dropping number of starters, Surratt's numbers have gotten progressively worse. And although he's still completing better than 60% of his passes, there just aren't many weapons around him. Consequential fumbles, penalties, incompletions, all dumb mistakes that the team keeps making. Surratt's at the helm of the offense with no veteran to learn from, but given the circumstances, I think he's doing okay. Fans hope Surratt will take this season as a learning experience and hit the ground running next year.
Some serious hot takes from you there, Abby. Football analyst Abby Presley with analysis of The Walking Dead, otherwise known as the Carolina football team. Thanks, Abby.
Despite the tough loss, there were still some Tar Heel fans having fun on Saturday. And to tell us more, we bring in reporter Cam Newworth live from the S12 lot. Cam, what was it like this weekend?
Sure, yeah. Thanks, Bailey. As you can see right now, this lot is only filled with a couple of cars. But on Saturdays, I can assure you this place fills up with RVs ready to tailgate for the day's game. It's early mornings and late nights. Long days filled with the smell of charcoal and the beautiful sound of some country music. And for some people, it's just a lifestyle.
For us, it's what we do. I mean, this is our favorite time of year.
But for Doug Frayne and his crew, a tailgate isn't complete with just a tent and some Bojangles and maybe a little bit of booze. He has to be able to navigate some tough roads.
My daughter went to school here, and her freshman year that she was at school, we decided we were going to buy an RV. We started off with a smaller one, and then by the time Leah was a sophomore or junior, we started to have probably 100 people at every tailgate. So we needed a bigger bathroom and a bigger unit. So that's what you see behind you. So we're about 70 feet going down the road.
To put that into perspective, 70 feet is about the length of, well, 70-foot-long hot dogs. But I can assure you, this wasn't a hot dog eater's tailgate. Complete with pulled pork barbecue, mac and cheese, baked beans, corn dip, Reuben dip, chicken salad, and almost any dessert you could think of, guests weren't gonna go hungry. And lucky for me, they treated me like family. So if you're in Chapel Hill looking for a good tailgate on a Saturday, head down to the Dean Dome parking lot. And maybe Doug will let you crash his party too. And Bailey, as of right now, I don't know what the tailgaters have planned for this weekend against UVA, but seeing as it is the South's oldest rivalry, I can assure you they're gonna go all out. Back to you guys.
That's reporter Cam Newworth live from the S12 lot. Thanks, Cam.
From college to the pros, former Tar Heel quarterback and #2 overall pick Mitchell Trubisky is starting for the first time for the Chicago Bears tonight. Our Luke Buxton got reactions to the news from current Heels.
For players like redshirt freshman starting quarterback Chaz Surratt, Mitchell Trubisky is a role model and inspiration for young quarterbacks in terms of what the pro possibilities are.
So as for me personally, I'm just trying to get to that stage at one point in my career. So just seeing him work and what he did each day, day in and day out, I'm just trying to get there too, and just follow that same path.
After playing together with Trubisky at Minter High School and then for UNC, tight end Brandon Fritz was extremely excited when he heard the news that Trubisky is starting for the Bears.
Yeah, I was pumped, man. I called him later that night, and he was pumped up for sure. And I know he's excited for his opportunity, man. I can't wait to watch him. I know he's going to do his thing and make a lot of us proud.
Trubisky had a promising preseason for the Bears. In the 4 games he played, Trubisky threw for 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, completed 67.9% of his passes, and posted an average QB rating of 106.2. That's why some of Trubisky's old teammates and roommates have high expectations for him tonight.
Mitchie T's going 23-25, and he's rookie MVP. 4 games in, he's going to be the rookie MVP. Calling it right now.
Carolina football players are happy to see Trubisky start in the NFL. They also can't wait to join him in the league so they can take him down. Junior Cole Holcomb is already envisioning what will happen if he faces Trubisky in the pros.
Getting 3 sacks. He's getting a sack. He's getting sacked at least 3 times that game. It's got to happen.
Trubisky doesn't have to worry about Cole Holcomb yet, but he does have to worry about the Vikings defense, which intercepted Jameis Winston 3 times in Week 3. However, if he plays tonight like he played at Carolina, he'll be just fine. I'm Luke Buxton, reporting.
Trubisky and the Chicago Bears will face the Minnesota Vikings tonight at 8:30 in an NFC North showdown. When Sports Extra returns,
the volleyball team made some net gains this weekend and appears to be headed in the right direction.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
The women's soccer team took a trip to the beach Thursday night to face off against a Miami team that hasn't scored a goal in more than a month. Miami's defense faced 10 shots in the first half, but goalkeeper Fallon Joyce held UNC at bay. This shot by Ronnie Johnson almost broke the Canes' goalless streak, but the U just didn't have the goods. It was only 2 minutes into the second half when Alicia Russo took this midfield pass all the way to the bank. That's her 5th goal of the season and her 4th game-winning goal. And Miami couldn't stop the bleeding, giving up 2 more goals in the game. The Heels take this one 3-0 and remain undefeated in the ACC. The team then traveled to Wake Forest Sunday night in what turned out to be a tough matchup. The Heels scored early on this goal by Alicia Russo to carry Carolina into halftime up 1-0. UNC held possession in the second half until the Heels scored a second goal, again by Russo, whose beautiful move on a Wake defender left her open to rifle a shot into the bottom left corner. Ultimately, the Heels were just too much for Wake to handle, and Carolina wins 2-0.
The men's soccer team had a prime-time matchup against the second-ranked Demon Deacons on Friday in Cary, and it came down to the final minutes. A number of Heels fans made their drive to Winston-Salem, but in the 38th minute of play, the Demon Deacons scored, and the Heels tried to return the favor, but Alan Wynn just couldn't close the deal. Minutes later, though, Cam Lindley takes a free kick outside the 18 and did not disappoint. 1-1 game. But the Deacons scored again with a pass to the outside, a cross, shot, and the finish. The Heels fall short 2-1. If you're a UNC student and a fan of sports radio, you might have heard of the Never Made Varsity podcast. The student-produced sport talk show has been taping for about 2 months, but the team could be forced to split up in the near future. I caught up with the 3 hosts of the show to see why.
Hello and welcome to the Never Made Varsity podcast. My name is David Rivero. You can find me at D_River_O on Twitter.
The Never Made Varsity podcast isn't flashy. Just some mics and 4 guys talking about sports in the basement of Cobb Hall on UNC's campus. But according to show co-host Maverick Hart, the podcast was never supposed to happen.
Yeah, the whole idea of creating like a podcast was more or less kind of like a joke between the 4 of us.
The egg avatar that he is.
The joke has become a real podcast with 250 subscribers. But co-host Aaron Friedman isn't sure that the podcast will exist at this time next year.
I think it's a conversation that we need to have eventually because I'm the only one on the podcast that's not a senior. If we don't want to keep doing it, then that's cool. But if we want to keep doing it, that's cool too, and that will be awesome because we have the means to continue doing it after this school year ends.
These guys really enjoy what they do. And if the future of the podcast is up to co-host David Rivero, the show will go on.
I look forward to Sundays every single week because I love doing this podcast, man. Like, I love this podcast, and that's why I do it.
This protest is not out of hate for America. This is out of wanting to make America a better place.
With content like that, don't expect Never Made Varsity to fade out anytime soon. Oh man, it's the old your friends are going to graduate before you problem. I hope they're able to power through and stick together.
It was a rockin' Friday night in Chapel Hill as the volleyball team took on the Duke Blue Devils. More than 3,500 fans packed into Carmichael Arena for the rivalry and tried to ensure home court advantage. After losing the first set, the Heels, with the help of redshirt freshman Holly Carlton, were able to cut the 16-21 deficit in the second to take a 23-25 win. From then on, it was smooth sailing as Carlton and the Heels dominated the following sets, claiming a 3-1 victory against the Devils. Carlton put on a show with her second triple-double of the year, recording double-digit kills, assists, and digs, becoming the first Tar Heel in 25 years to record 2 triple-doubles in a season. And on Sunday against Wake, the Tar Heels dropped the first set but bounced back in the second and third. It was a block party as Catherine Esterly denies this Demon Deacon attack. After dropping the fourth set, the Heels took over in the fifth and final set, winning the first 3 points and cruising to a 15-5 win to clinch the match. The Heels moved to 7-7 overall and 4-2 in the ACC. Paul, who would you say was the third-ranked field hockey team in the country?
Well, Bailey, I'd say it'd be Virginia before the Who's took a beating from the Heels.
the color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
The men's golf team hosted the Tar Heel Intercollegiate Tournament at Findlay Golf Course this weekend, and boy did the Heels show out. UNC finished number 1 overall in the tournament hosted at Chapel Hill's Findlay Golf Course by a whopping 23 strokes. Not only did Carolina finish first out of 14 teams, but the number 1 player of the entire tournament was UNC's Ben Griffin. Griffin set a school record by shooting a 63 on Saturday, finishing the tournament 19 under par.
It was all Heels in Charlottesville this weekend as the field hockey team traveled north to take on number 3 Virginia. It took a while to get the scoring going, but Ashley Hoffman got this one in just before halftime to make the score 1-0. UNC caught fire in the second half, starting with this tip-in goal from Catherine Hayden. 8 minutes later, Marissa Creator gets this one in with a swing like she's on the softball team. The Heels put the icing on the cake with this first career goal by Feline Gunther, making the score 4-0 and sealing their 8th straight victory. Bailey, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just tweeting about that win, #GoHeels. While I might be able to tweet from the desk, as reporter Lex Juarez shows us, student athletes are scrutinized more than the average Tar Heel when it comes to social media.
When Brody Modini came from Australia to run at UNC, there was one thing he remembers being told.
Everyone was kind of warned, I guess, to make sure you keep your social media under wraps.
What Modini was warned? Pretty typical. Student athletes told to delete questionable social media and then follow tough standards.
Certainly people who are looking at athletes are going to search their social media.
And not just folks wanting to make mischief. It's also potential sponsors and advertisers. A simple search can reveal a lot about whether they want to be associated with the athlete. That's why many student athletes say the university rules help them out in the end.
I think it gives you a bit of a head start as well because it's teaching you now to watch what you post.
Former UNC student athlete Jamie Loeb says it's helped her win sponsors for her professional tennis career.
I think that prepares you for, the professional tour where, you're in charge of your social media. You don't have someone really monitoring it.
Loeb is sponsored by Fila and Solenko. She says those companies' social media policies align with the universities. And that's not uncommon.
Well, if they sign with a pro team, that team's going to have social guidelines, and they're going to be probably really similar to the universities.
In the end, it all comes down to one thing, Kirk says, personal brand. Or, as the university puts it, carefully consider how you want people to perceive you.
You really need to think of your social media as your brand and a reflection on your brand.
It's more about character, I think, than anything else.
And good character is the brand most companies want.
Sponsorships, at the end of the day, are not about helping the athlete. It's businesses trying to help their brand.
Modini hopes a winning Tar Heel brand will mean success after college.
It's going to help me a lot in the future in getting jobs as well. And like the social media guidelines, I think that's only really just setting me up well for the future.
Because in the future, he won't have to run away from his social media. In Chapel Hill, Lex Suarez, Sports Extra.
Despite past problems involving athletes and social media, there hasn't been a significant update to the policy since 2012. When Sports Extra returns...
Signing posters more than 24 hours before game time? Where are these Carolina football players headed? They're hoping to brighten someone's day?
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere will bring us wireless emergency alerts. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you...
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. Picking a college, man. You and us go together like tacos and Tuesday. And I love tacos.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
There's a lot that goes into being on the football team.
Including something you might not know anything about. Our Jonah Lasaya has the story. We're having some technical issues there. Wow, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do with the football team this year?
You know, I don't know. I'm honestly not sure if the team's going to get another win, but that story was going to show us how they visited the hospital and visited kids that probably don't care if they win or not.
I know that's so good too, because you know, like the kids, like kids enjoy that, man, and like this is so much bigger than sports. The world is so much bigger than sports, and I'm glad that the football team recognizes that.
The basketball team also shows out for kids occasionally, and we're ready for basketball season for sure.
Basketball cannot come soon enough. Please, Roy, make me happy again. Make me happy again.
We always say we're a basketball school, but we tend to forget the football team's just not that good, and that's why we say stuff like that.
Yeah, we're going to raise that banner, though, so it's going to make it worth it. All right.
That does it for this edition of Sports Extra. Thanks so much for watching.
Good night.